So, what really makes modern Britain tick? Today, we're going to break down the fundamental principles that shape life here in the UK. We'll look at them as four essential building blocks, covering everything from your core rights all the way to the rules of the road. Let's dive right in and take a look at the blueprint for British society. All right, here's our game plan. We're kicking things off with the absolute bedrock of society, your foundational rights. Then we'll get into the specific laws that are there to keep you safe. After that, we'll switch gears and look at how your taxes help build the country. And we'll finish up with a really practical guide to driving in the UK. Okay, first up, foundational rights. Now, these aren't just some new ideas. Nope, these are principles that have been built up over centuries, and they are, quite literally, the bedrock of British society. You should really think of this as the legal DNA of the UK. What's so amazing is just how long this journey has been. I mean, it goes all the way back to the Magna Carta, through to the Bill of Rights in 1689. Then, in 1950, the UK signed the European Convention on Human Rights. But the really big step was in 1998, when the Human Rights Act brought all those rights directly into UK law. It's a pretty incredible story of how freedom was established here. So what are these freedoms we're talking about? Well, they're the absolute essentials. The right to life, a total ban on torture and slavery, the right to liberty, a fair trial, and of course, the freedom to think, believe, and say what you want. These aren't just suggestions, they're your protection. A good way to remember this is to think of these 7 points as your core shield of freedoms. And this is the crucial part. That Human Rights Act of 1998 was a real game changer. It meant that all public bodies, the government, the courts, the police, have to respect these rights. It affects everything. So here's an easy date to remember. 1998 is when these rights officially came home. Okay, so we've laid the foundation with your basic rights. Now let's move on to our second building block, your personal protections. These are the specific laws designed to keep you safe in your day-to-day life. On this, the law is absolutely clear. Any violence in the home is a serious crime. And it's important to know that forcing a partner to have sex, even if you're married to them, can be charged as rape. The golden rule here is simple. Your home must be a safe place, by law. The UK has a zero-tolerance policy when it comes to female genital mutilation, or FGM. It is completely illegal in the UK. What's more, taking a girl or woman out of the country to have it done is also a criminal offense. Just remember this: zero tolerance, zero exceptions. Now, there's a really important line the law draws here. Arranged marriages are one thing, but forcing someone to marry against their will is a criminal offense. It's that simple. And there are even special protection orders available to stop it from happening. The key word to remember is consent. Without it, it's a crime. Look, if you or anyone you know needs help with domestic violence, please know that support is out there. This is the number for the National Domestic Violence Free Phone Helpline. It's available 24/7. This is a number to remember. Help is always available. Right, we've talked about rights and protections. But being part of society is also about chipping in. And that brings us to our third block, taxes. This is how you, personally, help fund all the public services that make the UK work. The two main types are income tax and national insurance. Income tax pays for all the general stuff, roads, police, schools. National insurance is more specific. It funds things like the NHS and the state pension. Here's a good way to think of it. Income tax is for the now services and national insurance is for your future safety net. So how do you actually pay it? Well, if you're an employee, it's usually done for you through the PAE, or pay-as-you-earn system. Your employer just deducts it automatically. But if you're self-employed, you're responsible for filling out a self-assessment tax return every year. So the first tax question to answer is, are you PAE or self-assessment? To work in the UK, you have to get a national insurance number. It's pretty straightforward. First, you call the Department for Work and Pensions. That's the DWP. You might have to go for an interview, and if you do, you'll need to bring documents that prove who you are and that you have the right to work here. Just remember, DWP. Those are the 3 letters to get your number. All right, we've covered rights, protections, and your contributions. For our final building block, let's get practical. Let's hit the road and talk about driving in the UK. First things first, how old do you have to be? In the UK, the minimum age to drive a car or a motorcycle is 17. 17 for freedom on the road. That's an easy number to remember. Getting a full UK license is a 3-step process. First, you apply for your provisional license. That gets you on the road to practice. Second, you've got to pass the driving theory test. And third, you pass the practical driving test. Just remember, provisional, theory, practical. 3 steps to get behind the wheel. Now, what if you already have a license from another country? Well, if it's from the EU or the EEA, you can drive on it for as long as it's valid. But if your license is from any other country, you can only use it for up to 12 months. After that, you'll have to get a full UK license. So, what's your license's time limit? Is it valid for life, or is that 12-month clock ticking? And if you own a car, there are a few things you absolutely must do. Your car has to be registered with the DVLA, you have to pay road tax every year, and you must have valid motor insurance. Driving without it is a very serious crime. Finally, if your car is more than 3 years old, it needs to pass an MOT test every year. Just think of it as the big 4 for your car: registration, tax, insurance, and MOT. And there you have it, the 4 building blocks of modern Britain. From the fundamental rights that protect you to the responsibilities we all share, these are the principles that hold everything together. Now that you know the building blocks, the real question is, how do these ideas of rights and responsibilities actually shape daily life here in the UK? Something to think about. Thanks for tuning in.